is Debbie. I'm one of the reference librarians at the Mulligan Hill branch of the Gloucester County Library System. Today I'm going to show you how to make a face mask. This one has a cute library fabric on the outside and a lining fabric inside, and it has the soft ear elastic, and it's pleated so that it can widen to cover from your nose to your chin. So I'll show you how. All right, so first you can make your own pattern. You don't have to buy one. Your main fabric, you want it to be 10.5 by 7.5. So it's just drawn on this piece of paper so that I can lay it out and cut out as many as I need. And the lining fabric will be 8 by 7.5. And that's drawn on this piece of paper. So once I cut those out, I'm going to take my fabric and put them right sides together. The lining fabric is shorter than the main outside fabric, and I'm just going to center it, just eyeball it, over the outside fabric, and then I'm going to sew a seam 1/4 inch in on the top and the bottom with the right sides together, and I'm going to sew the lining onto the outside fabric. So I'm going to do that. All right, so now I'm going to sew a 1/4 inch seam at the top of the lining fabric to sew it to the main fabric. All right, and then I'll do that again at the bottom. Okay, so I have my right side sewn together, and I'm going to turn it inside out and then iron it so that the seams lay nice and flat at the top and the bottom. Next, I'm going to pin the 3 pleats, all going in the same direction. They're going to be 1/2 inch each, so I'll just fold that up, measure it, and I'll pin it here and then over on this side. And when I have these all pinned, I'm going to iron it down so that I can take the pins out and they'll stay in place. Okay, so I'm going to iron that. And I'm going to iron the ends also. And then, after it's ironed, I'm going to sew a seam along the edge of the lining fabric to sew it in place. Then I'm also going to just sew along the very edge of the end of the fabric so that it will be easier to flip inside for the step that comes next. I'm going to sew the edge of the lining fabric to the main fabric now. All right, so there's my seam. Then I'm also going to sew the end of the main fabric. Okay, So the next step, now that I've sewn my ends, would be to turn it in a 1/2 inch and make your casing for the ear elastic. But because this fabric frays easily, I'm just going to first turn it under just barely without burning myself and iron that in place, and then I'll turn it over a 1/2 inch for the casing. I just want to catch the ends of the fabric in the seam so that they don't unravel. So now that I've done that, I can turn it in 1/2 inch and I will iron it in place. Pin it if you need to. If you don't want to take a chance burning your fingers, I understand. And I may pin it anyways, just because it's a bit of thickness there. So I want to make sure it stays in place before I get it sewn. So then we do that on both sides. And then sew along this edge right here, as close to the edge as possible, so that the elastic can go through that casing. All right, now I'm ready to sew the ends to make the casing for the elastic. So I just want to get as close to the end of that section as possible. And that's the casing, and that's where the elastic will get threaded through. All right, so we have our finished mask. We just have to add the elastic, which I did on this side. I'll do the other side and show you how. We have, this is super soft ear elastic. You could also use 1/4 inch elastic or whatever you can find. So I'm just using this tool to pinch the end of the elastic and run it through the seam here. You can also use a safety pin, pin the elastic, close the safety pin, and then use that to run it through. And sometimes it's a little tricky. It gets stuck on the turned under hem, but just work it back and forth and it eventually comes through. And then you can tie it to the length that you need, whatever is comfortable for you. I cut 15-inch length of elastic to start with. And that way I have enough to make it the proper length, and that's it. So you can put the elastic around your ears, and as I said before, this opens up with this pleated area so it covers everything from your nose to your chin, and that's how you make a super easy face mask. Have fun.